Good evening YouTube, it's Hannah from Smaugish and I am going to do the Goth Tag. Now, I've already filmed this video like about a year ago now, but I have never uploaded it because just haven't, so I'm going to redo it now. As always when I do tags, I have the questions on my old laptop, so if I keep looking down or to the side, that's why. Without further ado, let's get into it. Question 1 is, how long have you been goth? Now, this is a really interesting question because I'm nearly 28 and I would say like visibly, recognisably goth, probably since the age of 14, 15, that sort of age, you know, more goth. We're talking like band t-shirts and trip pants with zips and straps and things like that everywhere, and I used to wear like black corduroy pants with weird tops and fishnet and long sleeves and things like that. But I was also into like the music and the literature and the art and all things like that, so recognisably goth since about then. But to be honest with you, I think I've been into sort of, I hate to be one of those, oh my god I'm true goth, one of those assholes, but I think I've been into goth stuff for most of my life. When I was little, one of my favourite things ever was the Addams Family, and I can remember, like, if you'd have asked me what kind of like car I want when I'm a grown up, I would have said like a hearse or like a car like Morticia and Gomez had in the Addams Family. So I think I've been gothically inclined, if not actually goth, for like my whole life. Question 2, how are you introduced to goth? So I didn't have any like friends or older friends or relatives or anything that were into like that were actually goth. So I think I kind of just went into it organically and kind of discovered it for myself because of, you know, the music I listened to, and I did listen to like early sort of punk music and stuff. My dad does quizzes and things and pub quizzes and music quizzes, and he always likes music, so from a really early age I was sort of introduced to and exposed to like really old sort of classic rock and classic punk, and part of that were bands like Susie and the Banshees and The Damned and you know, other similar bands. So I think that, and then as I sort of got into like metal and things like that, and then kind of seeked my way into liking more goth bands like The Cure and all those kinds of things. So yeah, I wasn't introduced to goth in as much as I discovered it for myself and wanted to dress in black clothes and things like that. So yeah. Question 3 is a really difficult one. What gothic subgenre would you put yourself in? Now, I don't think I would put myself in a particular subgenre, like, at all. I'm just a goth. Some days I look more, I don't know, slightly Victorian inclined. Some days I just look more trad inclined. Some days I look more gothabilly and psychobilly. Some days I look vampiric. You know, I don't necessarily have a particular subgenre. I just like goth things and goth clothes and sort of take bits from all over the place and just make me. I mean, right now I'm wearing a Bride of Frankenstein t-shirt and a lace cardigan and a spider necklace and a bat thing and like Sigil of Leviathan earrings, so I don't know what subgenre you'd call me right now. Probably some of you wouldn't even call me goth, but don't care. What do you believe to be the basis of the goth subculture is the next question. Obviously music. I did my Goth 101 series and I talked about the music. The music is really important, and you know, a lot of the aesthetic and the way that we are and the things that we are in sort of the modern goth world comes from the music, and it does. Things like, you know, that post-punk evolution of things, and you know, the early bands like Susie are very, very you know, inspirational to the aesthetic of goth. Like Susie, David Vanian, all of those kind of guys. But I think also there's the art and the literature. Like you can't ignore the influence that Gothic literature and those Victorian Gothic writers have on our modern Gothic genre, and lots of the things that goth bands write about and sing about, and it's just, it comes from that. So in my opinion, it's the literature and the music. That's where goth comes from. Question 5, what do you dislike about being goth? Other goths? I hate this one-upmanship thing that happens all the time. Like, you have to tick all of these boxes to even dream about calling yourself goth. I'm like, okay, I know, I understand the music is important and you should at least have a bit of a knowledge, and you should know where it comes from, and you should know some of those old bands, but I don't think you have to like them in order to be goth. Like, I'm sorry, but as long as you know them and you understand them and you can appreciate them, you don't have to listen to them. And if you want to dress a certain way, that's great. I think goth is so much more of a mindset and a lifestyle than it just is a musical choice and a style choice. Like, and this whole elitism of this person is more goth than this person, and you're not goth enough because you don't look like this person, especially since, you know, the world of social media imploded, and you've got all these amazing content creators on YouTube and people on Instagram and everything, but it's just created this mishmash world of one-upmanship and gothier than thou-ness and elitism, and I bloody hate it, because that's how we're going to put people off. We're going to put baby bats and gothlings off, because all they're going to see is this world of infighting and bitchiness, and they ain't going to want no part of that. So that's what I hate most about being a goth. Question 6 is, what do your parents think of it? They're fine with it, to be honest. I think at first they didn't quite understand it. They're both quite religious, so you know, they don't particularly like some of my more occult things, but yeah, they're both pretty religious. So at first, when I first started really getting into it, I think they were a bit scared and they worried a bit about it. But on the whole, I think they much prefer me to be like this than, I don't know, if someone wears miniskirts and low-cut tops and massive high heels and goes clubbing all the time. Like, especially when I was a bit younger, I'm pretty sure they really preferred that. And my mum likes to say, oh, your clothes, you always look so feminine and lovely and put together, and you always do your makeup so nicely. So I think she appreciates it from that. I know, that's a very old-fashioned conservative mindset, but I don't really care. My dad likes it, and they both like the music, and I think they both appreciate the fact that a lot of it's about art and literature and, you know, kind of intelligent things. So yeah, I think they're both fine with it. At first they were a bit cautious, but then they were very, very supportive and almost encouraging. So yeah, that's what my parents think of it. I realised that I'm quite lucky, especially when I was younger. I'm quite lucky to have parents that are so like open and supportive of it. And I think I am going to do a video, there are so many of them on YouTube anyway, but I think I am going to do a video about how, if you're a gothling or a baby bat, you're starting to get into the subculture, how to go about it with parents. So yeah. Question 7 is eyebrows or no eyebrows? Quite clearly I have my own eyebrows. The no eyebrows thing, I've always been intrigued by it. And like, my last answer was very heavily influenced by my ex, because he was like, oh, I hate when girls don't have eyebrows. And I was like, oh yeah, I haven't shaved my eyebrows off and I'm never going to shave my eyebrows off. To be honest now, if I had the opportunity, like I didn't have to go to work, I wasn't, you know, working in a school for a while. Like, for example, if I you know, left my job for a while, went on sabbatical or whatever to do my master's degree, I probably would experiment with shaving my eyebrows off. I think I would look a bit more extreme, because I'd have the opportunity to do it. And it's always one of those things I wish I'd done when I was younger. Basically, if I could go back 10 years into, like 10 years ago, I would be so much more adventurous, and I would really experiment while I had the opportunity and the time to experiment. So I'd shave off my eyebrows, I'd shave bits of my head, I'd dye my hair crazy colours, you know, do all those things that I was too scared to do, and I was wrapped up in this little cocoon of self-hatred and body image issues and everything, and I would have just been like, girl, just do it, just do it. So yeah, currently eyebrows, but I have no real preference. Some people really pull it off, others don't. Question 8, what is your favourite band? So my favourite band, as everybody knows, is Ghost. And they're not particularly goth. So currently, my favourite goth or darkly inclined band is the Sisters of Mercy. Now I know lots of people are like, oh my god, they're not goth. They kind of are. They kind of are, really. Andrew Eldritch can deny it all he likes, but they are so goth, so that's my kind of favourite gothy band. Number 9. What is your opinion of Marilyn Manson? Well, I have a pair of Marilyn Manson leggings, so clearly it's not going to be, like, bad or anything. I like Marilyn Manson. It amuses me so much that he's such a controversial figure in the goth world. You have like camp, he's not goth, camp, he is goth. if you go back like 20 years or so, he was a massive part of the goth scene, like a huge part of the goth scene, and he has had such influence on various parts of it as well. And I'm a big fan of Marilyn Manson, not necessarily because I'm a goth, and I don't necessarily think liking him makes me a goth or whatever, but I like him, and I'm not afraid to say that. And I'm not afraid to say that the trinity of albums, Antichrist Superstar, Mechanical Animals, and Hollywood are three of my favourite albums, like ever. Like, I have Antichrist Superstar and Hollywood in my car, and I kind of have my rotation of CDs between Cradle of Filth, Dimmu Borgir, Sisters of Mercy, Marilyn Manson and Ghost, so I like Marilyn Manson. What can I say? My boyfriend is actually touring with Marilyn Manson in the summer, which is pretty cool. There's nothing in it for me, but you know, cool bit of knowledge. Question 10. What were your baby bat days like? I kind of went through a period of time where I would wear, as I said, black band shirts and baggy, strappy black bondage pants and black corduroy flare trousers and fishnet and tights cut up and long arm sleeves and chokers and a ring on every finger and 7 necklaces. So my baby bat days were pretty cool. I looked banging. But yeah, I kind of went through, because I had such a... I'll talk about this more in my mental health video, but because I had a few really big events happen to me when I was a teenager, like I didn't really do that self-discovery and that self-expression until about three or 4 years ago. I've mentioned that before, so I didn't really necessarily have baby bat days. But yeah, when I did have my baby bat days, there were black shirts and black bondage pants and arm sleeves and things like that. Super cool. And that is all 10 questions of the Goth Tag. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've learned a bit more about me and my gothiness by watching this video. Let me know in the comments what you think. What are your answers to any of these questions? I might leave the questions in the description box down below if you'd like to have a go at doing your own answers. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.